check me, boo.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see that every time that I post. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the content, and anything you want to add, feel free to do so down below in the comment section. So Netflix came out with another movie called Dangerous Lies, so let's discuss. Okay, so our main character is Katie, and Katie is played by the same actress who plays Veronica in Riverdale, so there's a reference for you. I don't know her real name, sorry. So we start off with Katie working in a diner, and you know, she's just doing her thing or whatever, and she goes out and she's serving this guy who looks like you know, just a tired, worn out college student or whatever. They talk, flirt a little bit, and the next thing you know, they end up in the back of Katie's car making out. And I was like, dang, I didn't even get to learn the boy's name. Do you know his name? I was like, where we doing this at? And you at work. So they're out there, they're making out or whatever, filling each other up. And I was like, okay, this movie is getting off to a great start real quick. But when they stop making out, this is Katie's husband. I was like, what is going on? Okay, so Katie is working at the diner while her husband is going to school for the moment. So she's working just to, you know, keep some money in their pockets, I guess, and to pay bills or whatever. And she's like, you know, as soon as you finish, you know, we'll have a better life, you'll have a better job, all of this, right? And so she's telling him, like, okay, now I need to go back inside. You know, I'm at work. Yeah, you shouldn't have been out there with them in the beginning. I don't know who told you this was a good idea. But she's like, let me go back inside before I get fired or whatever, right? So he goes back in, and when they go back in, they walk back into the diner being robbed, right? So there's this guy in there, and he's already shot Katie's co-worker. And he's holding the owner at gunpoint. He's like, you know, give me your money, give me your money. And they're hiding in the back just looking. And so Katie's boo, because I don't know his name at this point, he goes and he takes a skillet off the stove. Now, I don't know if it was just me, but y'all tell me if y'all seen this. The stove looked like it was on. I clearly saw smoke coming from the stove. So I was like, how he gonna pick up this hot skillet and it's not gonna burn his hands? But I was like, okay. So he takes a skillet, he sneaks out, and you know, basically he's the hero. He saves the day. The police come, you know, they the police come, they take down all the information of what happened and everything like that, and they go on about their business. Okay, well, flash forward 4 months later, right? We've got Katie driving through this beautiful neighborhood. The houses are pretty. You know, everything's well kept or whatever. Katie pulls up to this this nice house, this nice home, and she goes in and she speaks to a Leonard. And I'm like, who is Leonard? Is Leonard the, like, what's going on? So she goes in actually, and we find out that she is actually the caretaker of Leonard. Leonard is this 88-year-old man, and by the way, this 88-year-old man looks great. I was like, oh, he looks good to be 88 years old. So she's taking care of him. You know, she cooks his meals. She's, you know, she's a friend to him, you know, someone for him to talk to. And important thing, she gives him his medication. She even has a notebook that she writes down, you know, throughout the day, you know, like at this time I gave him this, at this time I gave him this, you know, very detailed, all of that, right? So, and of course, as being a caretaker, she's there to listen to all of his stories about back in my day, I did this and I did that, and we was doing this. And so, you know, they're just really good friends. Now, on the flip side of this, back at Katie's apartment, things seem to be, you know, piling up with her and the boo. They got his student debt loans, they've got credit card bills, they've got insurance that needs to be paid, and they don't really have any money for this. So we found right there that Mr. Katie is not going to school and does not have a job, but he did some type of interview or whatever. And so Katie's telling him, well, you stopped going to classes, so this is why, you know, they want their money now for, you know, student loans or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna land this job, you know, the whole wishful thing. I'm gonna land this job, everything's gonna be great, we're gonna have a fabulous life. And Katie's like, okay, that's great for then, but we need money for now because we have bills to pay, sir. He also comes out of his face and is like, oh, I don't want a minimum wage job. I was like, you can at least get a job until you get the job that you want. Like, put some money in the house and then, you know, just work there until, you know, you land your position, and then you can just quit that job. That's all you got to do. You act like it's just beneath you, sir. Get out there, get a job, bring in some money, some income, help her out. So now we know his name is Adam. She said it in the midst of getting fed up with his shit. She was like, look, you something gotta shake, because like these bills not gonna pay themselves, right? I was like, okay, about time. We know this man's name. And apparently Katie is still thinking about like what happened at the diner 4 months ago. She's like, oh, I could have lost you then. I can't believe you were reckless and went out there. That guy could have shot you, this, that, and the third. So Katie actually runs off, and this is the weird part. Katie runs off to sit on Leonard's porch. Who does that in the middle of the night? What? So Leonard comes downstairs with a baseball bat, as he should, and she looking at him like he crazy. You are trespassing, ma'am. You are, just because you got a key to the house don't mean you can just show up whenever you feel like it. So he comes down and he sees her, and she's like, he tells her, he's like, oh, I thought you were an intruder. You know, I always hear things going on in the middle of the night. She's like, oh, no, it's just me. I just needed somewhere to go. You couldn't just go and drive your car around somewhere, maybe find a park and just sit there. Like, you had to go sit on this man's front porch. Now, had you been shot, he would have been in the wrong. But what was you doing? So she's telling Leonard all of her money issues. You know, we need money and this, that, and the other. And Leonard's like, okay, well, you know, let me help you. Let me give you something. She's like, oh, no, I can't. You know, I can't take anything from you. That wouldn't be right. She's like, but Adam needs a fucking job. He's like, all right, we can make something. So the next day, Katie and Adam show up at Leonard's. And so while Leonard is outside, you know, just kind of showing Adam around outside, because since he's going to be the groundskeeper, or the gardener, you know, he's just showing around outside. The doorbell rings. So Katie goes to the door, and it's this guy, Mickey, who says he's a real estate agent, and he wants to buy the house for his client. And so Katie's like, well, you know, the house isn't for sale. Like, I know Leonard, he wouldn't want to sell his house. And so Mickey's like, well, you know, just, you know, when you talk to the owner, just let him know I came by. And, you know, if he changes his mind, you know, just give me a call. And she's like, well, okay, all right, whatever. When that happened, that scene, I don't know if y'all seen enough, but y'all know when Mitch goes over and forces that poor old man out of his house so him and Jennifer Lopez can live there. I was like, this reminds me of that scene. You just gonna come in and force this 88-year-old man about his house. That's what we gonna do. Now, Mr. Calvin also drops by, and apparently he is Katie's boss. He actually hired Katie through his agency to work for Mr. Leonard. So he comes by and he drops, you know, he's just dropping by to, you know, see how everything's going, seeing if Katie's doing her job and Mr. Leonard's okay, if he's comfortable with this, that, and the third, right? Katie is worried about him seeing Adam. And, you know, of course, she's worried about him seeing Adam. I was like, okay, well, it don't matter if he see Adam. No way, because there was somebody following them the day before, and I was like, oh, it must have been Mr. Calvin. I was like, he's seen him anyway. He knows Adam's at the house. Before Katie leaves that day, Leonard gives Katie a check, and I was like, okay, that's just, you know, her check for the week or whatever. And so they go to the bank, her and Adam, right? And she opens up the envelope while they're talking. He has given her a check for $7,000. I was like, it looks like sugar baby, sugar daddy tendencies to me, but I don't know. I won't see. But I was like, you was over there late at night. He was talking about some helping you out. You know, you could have, you know, for $7,000. I don't know. But she's like, oh, you know, we can't keep this. We got to take this back. You know, I did mention that we were having problems, but I can't take this money for him, right? Upstanding citizen, wants to do the right thing. Doesn't want to take advantage of anybody, right? Adam, on the other hand, Adam is, oh no, we'll keep it. We're going to pay our bills with it. We'll go back tomorrow. Tell him he made a mistake and give him the difference. I was like, what? What? So you just came up with that scheme real quick, like. You can't tell me you haven't been out here scamming your way through life. Because you came up with it too quick. He was on it. So while they're sitting in the car actually discussing this, Mickey is watching them. And so then I was like, oh, was it Mickey who was following them, not Mr. Calvin? But I was like, why is Mickey following them? Like, what is going on? Katie had mentioned to Adam, she was like, you know, Leonard doesn't have any family. And I was like, well, is this a son that like he disowned or something? Or doesn't know about maybe? And he's come back to like meet his dad? What's going on? The next day they go to the house, right? Now, Katie goes in, she's doing her usual, she's fixing his breakfast and she's getting his medicine ready. When she goes up and she's looking for him, he's not in his room. So she goes up to the attic where he likes to sit and listen to music sometimes, right? She goes up there and he is dead. And I was like, oh, wow. That looked real suspicious. So I had jumped the gun. I was ready. I had jumped the gun. I was like, all right. You know that check. Now he dead. Y'all suspect. Y'all suspect. When they find him dead, tell me why it took them forever to call 911. Forever. And the time it took them to call 911, this is what they did. Okay. Adam goes up. He's checking on Katie, seeing if she's okay, right? And as Katie's getting ready to go call 911, Adam finds a key that Leonard had dropped. So Adam's like, oh, what is this key for? Adam finds the chest, opens it up, right? And it's like, it's just full of pictures and stuff. And we see a picture of Leonard and this woman. And Adam's like, I thought you said he didn't have kids. You know, he doesn't have any family. And she's like, well, he said he doesn't. But it's attached to all these letters. So I'm like, okay, those are love letters maybe between him and that lady. But then there's a newspaper clipping saying that she died. But I'm like, okay, what if before she died... Okay, see, now I'm about to poke holes in my own theory. But I was like, oh, I didn't even think about the part that she had died. I was like, oh, what if they had had a kid and he didn't know about it and then she died? I don't know. But I was like, okay. So Katie's like, all right, well, we've went through this man's stuff enough. I'm going to go call 911. Adam pulls the top part of the chest, and what does he find? A buttload of money up under it. And I was like, call the police now, because y'all are about to be some suspects, criminals. They're going to lock y'all up. Don't touch nothing. Nothing. Adam's like, oh, we should keep this money. And Katie is like, no, we can't keep this money. So while they're outside deliberating, still haven't called 911, Adam's talking about something, we should just take it, you know, it'll be able to, you know, we'll just be able to have a better life or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, Katie about to put him in check and get his mind right? She comes out her face telling us some, oh, but we gotta be careful. I was like, what you mean y'all gotta be careful? Y'all need to call the police before both of y'all go to jail. Finally, they call 911 and they come. So the coroner comes, they take the body or whatever, and in comes Detective Chesler. So Chesler, of course, you know, asks questions, you know, what happened? How was his health? Katie's like, oh, it was fine. She was like, you know, no unusual activity, this, that, and the third. And she's just like, I'll be in touch or whatever. And Katie was like, oh, by the way, he wanted to be cremated, so... The detective, she's like, that sounds a little fishy. That's a little weird, but I'll get back to you. And I was like, I don't know if y'all see it, but I see it like, you've only been working here for 4 months. Your husband just started working here, and now your patient is dead. It looked like both of y'all came in here and killed this man. For his stuff. I was like, y'all look real suspicious right now, right? Katie goes back to the agency, right? She's trying to get another job. So she goes, she talks to Mr. Calvin. She's like, hey, I want to get back out there. Is there anybody else, you know, who needs help around their home or whatever? And Mr. Calvin's like, oh, I would love to do that, but you have to wait for the investigation to be over. And she's like, the investigation? He's like, yeah, you know, he was an older man. He died under your care, you know, just, you know, protocol or whatever. And so she came out her neck a little bit. She was like, oh, so y'all trying to accuse me of killing him? He was like, no, we're not saying that. But, you know, like, this is just protocol. This is just what has to happen. So she's like, okay. While she is out here looking for a job, like everybody else in this relationship should be, where is Adam? Adam is over at Leonard's house doing what? Counting the man's money. I was like, what are you doing, sir? You're going to jail. They're going to lock you up. You ain't got to worry about this money because you're going to be broke behind bars. In the process of him counting this money, somebody breaks into the house and knocks him out with a baseball bat, right? So he calls Katie, and Katie is like, what are you even doing over here? Like, we said we were going to be careful. You ran your thirsty behind right on over here to get this money, and now somebody knows that you were here. And he's just like, oh, maybe they don't even know about the money. This is all he's worried about. Maybe they don't even know about the money, this, that, and the other. And Katie's like, you gonna get us up because you out here being stupid. Katie was doing good. She was telling him about himself until he told her how much he had counted already and there was more behind it. Then she was like, oh, maybe we need to get the money. I was like, I don't know if I need to root for you or not root for you, because I don't know if you're on the good side or the bad side. Your husband looking real shaky right now. I'm trying to root for you, but you're making it real hard right now. So they take it to a bank where there are cameras, you know, cameras. And they deposit it in a safety deposit box. I was like, now, if they start to investigate y'all and see y'all just walk through this bank here where they have cameras and see y'all deposit all of this money, y'all are going to look real suspicious. Y'all going to be locked up tomorrow. Now, I didn't know that stealing some dead man's money was a turn on, but apparently it was. I was like, well, all right then. But the next morning, they're looking real shook because the detective called. I was like, jail, locked up, under the jail, behind bars, rest of your life. But the detective only called to tell Katie that, you know, they didn't find anything suspicious. So if Leonard is going to be cremated, somebody's got to take care of the expenses. And Katie just hops up, oh, you know, we're going to take care of his expenses. And I was like, okay, that looks a little suspicious too, but maybe not too suspicious. So the detective was like, okay. But she should have been talking to her husband. They should have went in there with a game plan, because Adam almost let the cat slip up out of the bag. I was like, they finna be locked up now because he's about to incriminate himself. So they cremate Leonard, right? And they're doing like a mini memorial, just the two of them, right? And in walks Leonard's attorney. And I was like, okay. She walks in and she says that she's Leonard's attorney and she has some stuff she wants to talk over with Katie. And Katie's like, okay. She's like, I have Leonard's will. And Katie's like, his will? She's like, yeah. So they go back to Leonard's house, right? Leonard has left everything to Katie. All of his possessions, all of his belongings, including his house. And so the attorney says, you know, you should have someone look this over, you know, because we don't want any funny business going on. And is there anything you need to tell anybody? You know, because that could, you know, null and void all of this. Katie just basically says, I don't have a lawyer. If you don't mind, will you represent me? Type of thing. So Adam is excited, right? Of course, right? So the attorney, Julia, I'm just going to call her Julia. Julia picks up on this. So when her and Katie go outside, she's like, oh, I just want you to remember that, you know, everything was left to you. You're in control. I don't know about your husband, but, you know, sometimes money can change people. And Katie's like, oh, no, you know, we make our decisions together and it's not going to change him. He's going to be okay. So she's like, well, all right, then. If you think so, then all right. She should have listened to Julia. Adam is over here talking about some, we about to buy all of these cars and we about to go take all these vacations. We about to do some type of format of MTV Cribs. And Katie is like, what are you talking about? We're going to pay this debt off and, you know, have a clean slate. You know, just live under the radar and have a nice, comfortable life. Adam ain't trying to hear none of that. Adam talking about some, we finna go splurge and do this, that, and the third. And I was like, oh, child. Oh, child. Why? Red flag number 2. Out of all of this looks suspicious as well. 1, the man died under your care right after your husband started working there. And 2, because now he's left everything to you. Now, the detective, as of right now, knows that there is no will that has been left or anything like that, right? But now all of a sudden this will shows up. Now, the side note real quick, Julia did say that Leonard called her out the blue in the middle of the night. It had to be late in the day, and I was like, that don't really sound right, but all right. But I was like, that might have been some sugar baby, sugar daddy tendencies. I don't know. We're gonna see where this goes. Now, let me tell y'all something. Adam belonged over there in West Egg with Jay Gatsby throwing ties and shirts out the closet for Daisy Buchanan. Because I was like, this man does not know how to act. He ready to blow all this money already. He act just like new money. Like, you gotta flaunt it. You gotta show everybody that you got it. I was like, oh my goodness. So they're moving now, and Katie's trying to pack everything up, and Adam's trying to leave it all. It's junk. I was like, it wasn't junk yesterday when y'all didn't have all this wealth. I was like, what are you talking about? Katie's like, this is our stuff. Like, what do you mean it's junk? He's like, no, leave it. We'll replace everything. I'm like, oh my God. So Adam got a call. Adam got a call that said he needed to come down to the police station about what happened back in the diner shooting. Adam goes down to the police station, and as soon as the clerk didn't know what Adam was talking about, I was like, this was a set up. Somebody wanted the detective to know what happened in Adam's past, and surely that's what happened. The detective comes out. She's like, what's going on? He's like, somebody called me about, you know, what happened 4 months ago. She was like, what happened? He was like, oh, a guy tried to rob a place. I was there. I was the hero. She was like, well, it seems like somebody wanted you to come down here. I wonder who. Back at the house, Mickey's creepy ass is on the property at Leonard's house. And Katie's like, what is you doing here? And he's like, oh, basically he said he knows that Leonard is dead. He wants the house. And Katie's like, well, you still can't have the house because now the house belongs to me. And Mickey was basically like, you haven't seen the last of me. I'm going to be back because I want this house. I was like, the fuck? But in that, I was like, oh, Mickey called Adam and told Adam to go down there. It's like super obvious. That's what happened. Now Detective Chesler is detecting, right? She's doing her job. She's trying to find out everything that she can on Katie and Adam. Mostly Adam, right? So she goes to the diner and she's finding out about what happened there. And then she goes and she sees Katie while they're moving out. She's like, oh, I came to talk to you and your husband. Katie's like, well, he's not here. And so, you know, she just starts asking questions about what happened that night. You know, is it, you know, basically suggesting that maybe Adam had something to do with the burglary. And I was like, oh, shit. I can't believe that happened, right? So this is where the detective finds out about the will being left to Katie. She was like, this is a lot. You know, Leonard left you his house. Y'all have just come into all this wealth. This is a real coincidence. He died under your care. Y'all were at that diner together. But she's making it seem like it's kind of like Adam who's putting it, like, who's orchestrating all of this, like, behind the scenes. And I'm like, Adam looking real suspicious right now. I was like, okay. She also tells Katie, oh, by the way, did he even tell you that no one from the police station called him? So Katie thought that was weird or whatever. So when Adam does come home, Katie's like, how come you didn't tell me that somebody at the police station didn't even call you? Adam's like, I don't know who called me, but they told me to go down to the police station. And so Adam's like, this is all, y'all, like, this is all a setup against me. Adam's like, I don't know who it was. He's like, but also I think somebody's been following me. I was like, well, Mickey has been following y'all, but Katie's like, well, who would be following you? So then she's like, oh, she puts it together. She's like, oh, maybe it's Mickey. You know, he wanted the house, you know, this, that, and third, right? Katie says, all right, we're going to put this money back. I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't want to look suspicious or whatever, right? But Adam ain't having none of that, right? So while they're talking about this, Detective Chesler goes to see Mr. Calviner, and it's too late because she was like detecting, like I said she was doing her job, and she found that $7,000 check that Leonard wrote the day before he died. So Calviner was like, well, she didn't report any of this. And then he was like, no, we didn't employ Adam. You know, that's against our policy to put family members in the same home together. And he was like, you know, he did have some health issues, you know, because he was taking medication. Like, Katie kept up with those things. And I was like, this is looking bad. This is looking really, really bad. Back at Leonard's house, because that's what I'm gonna keep calling it, because it's not theirs yet. Back at Leonard's house, Katie is looking for Adam since he don't stormed off, right? And she goes out back and she finds like this small little room or whatever, and it's got a stove and it's got like a little cot type bed, and there is an evident bloody handprint on the door, right? But Katie didn't see none of that. Like that wasn't a stop sign to like stop, go back, don't go in there, nothing. She moves the bookshelf, of course, because there's a huge gaping hole behind it. And she goes in and she's just looking around, right? And she finds it, and this is what she finds. She finds a dead body, and she finds a bag full of that has some stuff in it with diamonds. So she's telling Adam, like, you know, that must have been Ethan, who was the ex-gardener of Leonard. And she's like, his body's been up there for 2 years. Oh my goodness, who would have killed him? Adam don't care nothing about that because he found diamonds. I was like, this boy don't see nothing but money. I was like, and he looking real suspicious. So, me with my theories, y'all know how I am. I was like, oh, that was Adam's partner. He probably knew about them diamonds, came and killed that man, but couldn't find the diamonds. Boom, bada boom, movie done, finished. I figured it out. Now, let's see. So, I was like, okay, right? So, Adam's like, oh, I'm going to take care of this for you. I was like, what you mean you gonna take care of it for her? Adam gets the body and dumps it. I was like, you dumped that body like you don't did this before. I was like, suspicious. So, Mr. Calviner comes over during this conversation, and Mr. Calviner tells Katie that she's not gonna make him look bad and he gonna be back for her. I was like, okay, sir. Later that night, Katie finds that some of Leonard's medicine is missing, so she goes back and she's looking through her books, and she's like, this shouldn't be empty, or, you know, close to empty. It should be fuller than what it is. So I was like, okay, boom, peep, right? I was like, okay, Adam started working there, right? Adam came back one night and gave that man some extra medicine, overdosed him, and killed him. I was like, oh, there you go. I see, he killed him so he could get them diamonds. See how I'm piecing it all together, right? So Adam comes in with 2 new cell phones, so we need to get rid of our old ones. I was like, suspicious. You're trying to erase your tracks. I was like, and Katie's like, we can't keep those phones or whatever. And she's like, oh, well, by the way, I'm about to call the detective. He snatched that phone out of her hand so quick. I was like, suspicious. The man is about to go to jail. All his information is about to come out. Katie told Adam, she said, okay, I'm done playing games. We're going to put this money back. We're going to be together. We're going to be okay as long as we got each other. We don't need money. We're in love. Adam said, oh, hell no. Nah. Adam said, we need this money. I don't want to hear nothing about what you're talking about. We going to be all right. I'm not going back to struggling. That's not the life for me. Katie wakes up and Adam's like, somebody's in the house. And, it's really not a mystery who's in the house. You can just tell by the body frame that it's Mr. Calviner. And Adam comes out and scares him, and he falls down the stairs and dies. So, of course, the police have to come again. And with the police comes Detective Chesler. So, she comes and she goes in the kitchen to talk to Katie. And she just put everything on the line for Katie. She was like, look, your husband is dirty. Your husband, this is what she tells her. She's like, your husband, she said, I know it's not you. She said, your husband set up the robbery at the diner because the guy that robbed the diner was a janitor at your husband's college, and they probably met, got together, set that up, and that didn't go as planned. So then you got him a job over here with Leonard. He done poisoned Leonard, and now you done came into all this newfound wealth. And I was like, yes, sis, that is what is going on. But now we need to get Katie to get on the team so we can incriminate and indict this man. Katie goes to Julia the next day. Katie goes to Julia. She's like, I need help. She's like, but you have to promise me that you are going to help Adam too. So they go to the bank, to the safe box. Money gone, disappeared, not in the box, safe box, empty, right? So Julia's like, okay, what is going on? She was like, oh, it had to have been Adam. Adam came and took the money, right? So Julia's like, look. So she tells Julia basically everything. Julia's like, look, I'm gonna go and stall Detective Chesler. Like, you need to make sure that Adam's at the house so we can incriminate him, basically. Katie's like, okay. Too late, because at the same time, they found the body of Ethan in the trash can. And when they found him, they found some stuff that, you know, that he used to work for Leonard. I was like, the plot thickens. So Detective Chesler already knew where to go, right? So when Katie gets to the house, Adam is there with the money, talking about some, we finna leave, we finna skip town, somebody been following me, they set me up, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, he made it sound real good. He was like, whoever Ethan was with, they probably came and killed him for those diamonds but couldn't find the diamonds or whatever. He made it sound real good or whatever, right? So I was like, okay, I might low-key believe his story. But it's a lie. He's telling her a lie. So Katie believed it though. Katie was like, okay, well, we finna skip town. Now, for whatever reason, Adam needed to go change. I was like, why can't you just leave in the clothes you got on now? But whatever. So while Adam went to go change, here comes Hayden. And this is where shit gets real. Hayden was the partner of Ethan, the ex-gardener. Hayden and him stole some diamonds, got away with it, and then Hayden went to jail for it, right? But Ethan didn't. Ethan got away. Hayden came and found Ethan, couldn't find the diamonds, but he did kill Ethan, right? So, there's a shootout between Adam and Hayden because Hayden was holding Katie hostage. So they both shoot each other. They're both dead. And in walks Julia. And she just happened to come right as everybody died. And then that's when I started looking like suspicious. So then Julia starts talking on the side of her neck like, she started calling Hayden dumb and stupid, like he couldn't even follow through with the plan of stealing $3 million worth of diamonds and not getting locked up for it. So Katie was like, I never told you how much the diamonds was worth and stuff. And so then now we know it's Julia. Julia's like, look, I met Hayden. I set up a deal with Hayden, like, I'm gonna make you go to jail for 2 years. When you get out, we gonna come find it. She was like, but then here y'all was in the way, so we had to set stuff up. She's the one who went and overdosed Leonard. So I was like, what is going on? I was like, I've been accusing Adam this whole movie because everything was pointing in his direction, and he was actually innocent, right? He was just money hungry. So I was like, oh wow. So right as Julia is telling Katie, like, where are the diamonds? Tell me where the diamonds are. Katie's like, I don't know where the diamonds are. Here comes Detective Chesler, right? So she shoots Julia. I was like, this has been a whirlwind of a movie. So another 4 months. Here we go. Okay, so Katie is pregnant. She's still at the house, Leonard's house. But she owns the house now. Which not really, if anybody would have looked at the records, Katie really doesn't own the house because Julia doctored up that will just to put it in Katie's name so they could come in and get the diamonds. I was like, wow. So Chester just comes to check on Katie, and she's like, oh, how are you holding up or whatever? And she's like, oh, you and your baby girl are gonna be fine. I was like, okay, whatever. And she's like, you know, we've looked through this house plenty of times and we still can't find the diamonds. And Katie's like, oh, I don't know where the diamonds are.
In the garden. In the garden.
I heard that man. I know y'all heard that man. I know she heard that man, right? He clearly said the garden. The garden. Now, Katie was working in the garden doing this. I was like, okay, whatever. But the movie ends with the sprinkler uncovering the diamonds as Katie goes in the house. I was like, well, she gonna find them tomorrow. And now she got $3 million worth of diamonds. I was like, okay, so all in all, she ended up rich with this man who I accused the whole movie of killing people. And he didn't even do nothing. He was just out here trying to, you know, good time, struggle and survive. And I apologize, Adam. I didn't mean no harm, but they set it up to make you look bad. And I'm sorry. But y'all let me know how y'all felt about this movie. Leave your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.